The second year, Part 11. Anne, correcting examination papers in the tower room one mid-June evening, paused to wipe her nose. She had wiped it so often that evening that it was rosy red and rather painful. The truth was that Anne was the victim of a very severe and very unromantic cold in the head. It would not allow her to enjoy the soft green sky behind the hemlocks of the evergreens, the silver-white moon hanging over the Storm King, the haunting perfume of the lilacs below her window, or the frosty blue-penciled iris in the vase on her table. It darkened all her past and overshadowed all her future. A cold in the head in June is an immoral thing, she told Dusty Miller, who was meditating on the windowsill. But in 2 weeks from today I'll be in dear Green Gables instead of stewing here over examination papers full of howlers and wiping a worn-out nose. Think of it, Dusty Miller. Apparently, Dusty Miller thought of it. He may also have thought that the young lady who was hurrying along Spook's Lane and down the road and along the perennial path looked angry and disturbed and un-June-like. It was Hazel Marr, only a day back from Kingsport, and evidently a much disturbed Hazel Marr, who, a few minutes later, burst stormily into the tower room without waiting for a reply to her sharp knock. "Why, Hazel, dear, Achoo! Are you back from Kingsport already? I didn't expect you till next week." "No, I suppose you didn't," said Hazel sarcastically. "Yes, Miss Shirley, I am back, and what do I find? That you have been doing your best to lure Terry away from me, and all but succeeding." "Hazel! Achoo! Oh, I know it all. You told Terry I didn't love him, that I wanted to break our engagement, our sacred engagement. Hazel, child, Achoo! Oh, yes, sneer at me, sneer at everything, but don't try to deny it. You did it, and you did it deliberately." "Of course I did. You asked me to." "I asked you to?" "Here in this very room. You told me you didn't love him and could never marry him." "Oh, just a mood, I suppose. I never dreamed you'd take me seriously. I thought you would understand the artistic temperament. Your age is older than I am, of course, but even you can't have forgotten the crazy way girls talk, feel, you who pretended to be my friend." This must be a nightmare, thought poor Anne, wiping her nose. "Sit down, Hazel, do." "Sit down?" Hazel flew wildly up and down the room. "How can I sit down? How can anybody sit down when her life is in ruins all about her? Oh, if that is what being old does to you, jealous of younger people's happiness and determined to wreck it, I shall pray never to grow old." Anne's hand suddenly tingled to box Hazel's ears, with a strange, horrible, primitive tingle of desire. She slew it so instantly that she would never believe afterward that she really had felt it. But she did think a little gentle chastisement was indicated. "If you can't sit down and talk sensibly, Hazel, I wish you would go away." A very violent curtsy. "I have work to do." "I am not going away till I have told you just what I think of you." "Oh, I know I've only myself to blame. I should have known. I did know. I felt instinctively the first time I saw you that you were dangerous. That red hair and those green eyes. But I never dreamed you'd go so far as to make trouble between me and Terry. I thought you were a Christian at least. I never heard of anyone doing such a thing. Well, you've broken my heart, if that's any satisfaction to you." "You little goose. I won't talk to you. Oh, Terry and I were so happy before you spoiled everything. I was so happy. The first girl of my set to be engaged. I even had my wedding all planned out. 4 bridesmaids in lovely pale blue silk dresses with black velvet ribbon on the flounces. So chic. Oh, I don't know if I hate you the most or pity you the most. Oh, how could you treat me like this after I've loved you so, trusted you so, believed in you so?" Hazel's voice broke. Her eyes filled with tears. She collapsed on a rocking chair. You can't have many exclamation points left, thought Anne, but no doubt the supply of italics is inexhaustible. "This will just about kill poor Mamma," sobbed Hazel. "She was so pleased. Everybody was so pleased. They all thought it an ideal match. Oh, can anything ever be like it used to be?" "Wait till the next moonlight night and try," said Anne gently. "Oh, yes, laugh, Miss Shirley, laugh at my suffering. I have not the least doubt that you find it all very amusing indeed. You don't know what suffering is. It's terrible, terrible." Anne looked at the clock and sneezed. "Then don't suffer," she said unpityingly. "I will suffer. My feelings are very deep. Of course, a shallow soul wouldn't suffer. But I am thankful I am not shallow, whatever else I am. Have you any idea what it means to be in love, Miss Shirley? Really, terribly, deeply, wonderfully in love? And then to trust and be deceived? I went to Kingsport so happy, loving all the world. I told Terry to be good to you while I was away, not to let you be lonesome. I came home last night so happy, and he told me he didn't love me any longer, that it was all a mistake, and that you had told him I didn't care for him any longer and wanted to be free. My intentions were honorable, said Anne, laughing. Her impish sense of humor had come to her rescue, and she was laughing as much at herself as Hazel. Oh, how did I live through the night? Said Hazel wildly. I just walked the floor, and you don't know, you can't even imagine what I've gone through today. I've had to sit and listen, actually listen, to people talking about Terry's infatuation for you. Oh, people have been watching you. They know what you've been doing, and why. Why? That is what I can't understand. You had your own lover. Why couldn't you have left me mine? What had you against me? What had I ever done to you? I think, said Anne, thoroughly exasperated, that you and Terry both need a good spanking, and if you weren't too angry to listen to reason— Oh, I'm not angry, Miss Shirley, only hurt, terribly hurt, said Hazel in a voice positively foggy with tears. I feel that I've been betrayed in everything, in friendship as well as in love. Well, they say after your heart is broken you never suffer any more. I hope it's true, but I fear it isn't. What has become of your ambition, Hazel? And what about the millionaire patient and the honeymoon villa on the blue Mediterranean? I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Shirley. I'm not a bit ambitious. I'm not one of those dreadful new women. My highest ambition was to be a happy wife and make a happy home for my husband. Was. To think it should be in the past tense. Well, it doesn't do to trust anyone. I've learned that. A bitter, bitter lesson. Hazel wiped her eyes, and Anne wiped her nose, and Dusty Miller glared at the evening star with the expression of a misanthrope. You'd better go, I think, Hazel. I'm really very busy, and I can't see that there's anything to be gained by prolonging this interview. Hazel walked to the door with the air of Mary, Queen of Scots, advancing to the scaffold, and turned there dramatically. Farewell, Miss Shirley. I leave you to your conscience. Anne, left alone with her conscience, laid down her pen, sneezed 3 times, and gave herself a plain talking to. You may be a B.A., Anne Shirley, but you have a few things to learn yet, things that even Rebecca Dew could have told you, did tell you. Be honest with yourself, my dear girl, and take your medicine like a gallant lady. Admit that you were carried off your feet by flattery. Admit that you really liked Hazel's professed adoration for you. Admit you found it pleasant to be worshipped. Admit that you liked the idea of being a sort of dea ex machina, saving people from their own folly when they didn't in the least want to be saved from it. And, having admitted all this, and feeling wiser and sadder and a few thousand years older, pick up your pen and proceed with your examination papers, pausing to note in passing that Myra Pringle thinks a seraph is an animal that abounds in Africa. Year number 2, part 12. A week later, a letter came for Anne, written on pale blue paper edged with silver. Dear Miss Shirley, I am writing this to tell you that all misunderstanding is cleared away between Terry and me, and we are so deeply, intensely, wonderfully happy that we have decided we can forgive you. Terry says he was just moonlighted into making love to you, but that his heart never really swerved in its allegiance to me. He says he really likes sweet, simple girls, that all men do, and has no use for intriguing, designing ones. We don't understand why you behaved to us as you did. We never will understand. Perhaps you just wanted material for a story, and thought you could find it in tampering with the first sweet, tremulous love of a girl. But we thank you for revealing us to ourselves. Terry says he never realized the deeper meaning of life before. So really it was all for the best. We are so sympathetic. We can feel each other's thoughts. Nobody understands him but me, and I want to be a source of inspiration to him forever. I am not clever like you, but I feel I can be that, for we are soulmates and have vowed eternal truth and constancy to each other, no matter how many jealous people and false friends may try to make trouble between us. We are going to be married as soon as I have my trousseau ready. I am going up to Boston to get it. There really isn't anything in Summerside. My dress is to be white moire, and my traveling suit will be dove gray with hat, gloves, and blouse of definium blue. Of course, I'm very young, but I want to be married when I am young, before the bloom goes off life. Terry is all that my wildest dreams could picture, and every thought of my heart is for him alone. I know we are going to be rapturously happy. Once I believed all my friends would rejoice me in my happiness, but I have learned a bitter lesson in worldly wisdom since then. Yours truly, Hazel Marr. P.S. You told me Terry had such a temper. Why, he's a perfect lamb, his sister says. P.S. I've heard that lemon juice will bleach freckles. You might try it on your nose. To quote Rebecca Dew, remarked Anne to Dusty Miller, postscript number 2 is the last straw.